Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to my little OBS audio tutorial. This is a real quick and dirty one. This isn't meant to be like a definitive fix kind of thing. This is just a really fucking quick way to make your audio sound good. Get your audio sound like me. I hate wasting time, so let's just get right into it. First thing you gotta do, this is all just fucking crossing T's and dotting I's, to be honest. You want to add in your audio input capture and name it microphone. This will be important later, and also it's just a good idea to name your shit. You want to set it up to your microphone. For me, it's my audio interface, so let's baba booey. And already look at that. This is not the volume at which I'm recording at, but listen, shush, you don't have to worry about that. Alrighty, this is okay enough. For most people, if they have a fancy audio setup like mine, where you have like a special application to manage all your audio shit, this will be by and large mostly fine. If you're a stupid idiot, though, and you don't have one of these, then stay tuned. So the first things first that you want to do is you want to start adding some filters. And you kind of want to do it in this order, otherwise things tend to get a little shaky. Pay close attention to the way that I set things up. So number one thing you want to add is a noise gate. Not noise suppression, noise gate.
You can add both, but it's kind of overkill.
Gates will completely bar all kinds of noise that you don't want. Noise suppressions will only suppress them down to a lower volume. Right out the gate, I think I should clarify that all of these settings are context dependent. These are all settings for my own microphone personally. By and large, though, these settings will pretty much work for anybody. So, first things first, close threshold. You kind of want to set this to a lower one. I set mine in between -60 and -40 decibels because that's typically where my noise lies. Yours might be a little higher, it might be a little lower. The close threshold is where the audio will start cutting off. Anything below this, it will completely cut it off. The open threshold is kind of where it stops cutting out noise. If there's any noise higher than this, it'll kind of keep it. And I kind of tend to keep it closer to where the closed threshold is because I like to have as little noise as possible in my audio. The attack time is how fast it starts enabling this noise suppression. The hold time is typically how long it will hold it for if you're talking. And then the release time is how long it takes to stop this filter from effect once you stop talking. At least that's my general understanding of it. The next thing that you want to add is a compressor. Compressors, what compressors do is that they make your quieter parts louder and your loud parts quieter while keeping everything kind of leveled. They're very good for people that fluctuate their talking a lot. I do it sometimes, notably when I'm more depressed. So now, this is kind of where I start getting into the spots that I don't really understand how they work, but you'll just have to take my word for a lot of these things. I dropped my ratio down to around anywhere between 2 to 1 or 4 to 1. I don't understand why. This is just kind of what my ear decides to be about good. I like to also always have my audio mixer in view whenever I'm working with audio. That way I can see the actual direct effects of my audio. The threshold, again, same with noise gate. It's how much or what the level is before it starts or stops enabling. Like anything lower than this amount, it'll start compressing, I believe. I'd recorded this previously and I had a really good fucking session going where I explained everything perfectly and I don't remember how I did that. See, the lower the threshold, the more compressed it gets, which means it'll sound really crunchy. So I kind of ballpark mine around 25. If you're someone who talks quieter, you'll want to go lower. If you're someone who talks louder, you'll want to go higher. So I keep mine around 25 because I talk about a normal volume. So attack and release, same as before. Attack is how fast it starts the compression, and release is how long it takes to stop the compression. So I keep the attack around 60 milliseconds, aka just a whole second. And I keep the release around 200 milliseconds, and that is a number that I don't know. Now, if you're finding that your audio is still really quiet, if it's still below in the green area, you might think that the green area is good. That's actually kind of not true in this case. The green area is fine for most people. What you kind of want to keep it is you kind of want to keep it in the yellow area. Once it starts getting into the red, that's when it starts clipping and it sounds bad. But if you find that your audio is still too loud or too quiet, you can change the output gain to make it louder or quieter. You can't hear it here, don't worry. So this is not my mic when it's clipping. I don't need to touch it really, so I kind of don't. But again, if you're someone who talks quieter still, even though you've done all these compression settings, you can bump up the audio gain. I would not go higher than 10 decibels Most people I would not go higher than 5. 5 decibels is kind of the good point where it's not too loud, but it's loud enough. Now, these last two things are stuff that you don't need. They're stuff I add because I kind of like the way that they make me sound. The first thing is a 3-band equalizer. This thing will help. You use this to kind of control your high range, your mid range, and your low range. If you're someone who has a higher voice and wants to emphasize that, or you want to make your voice a little less annoying, you kind of want to tinker with this one. So for me personally, I bump my highs to about 1 decibel. I bump my mids to about between 1 and 2. And then my lows I like to really crank because I like my low voice. I like my deep voice. I like all the bass in my voice. Because that's the thing. High really means treble in this case. Mid is mid. And low means bass. And you can kind of hear it in my voice now because I have all these filters already applied to the microphone that I'm recording with. The last thing that you want to add is a limiter. This is something that will prevent your audio from ever clipping if you set it up properly. The release, you kind of want to keep it around there. That's perfectly fine. Threshold, as you can see, right, already, if I disable this, my microphone already has a really good limiter on it, but I kind of keep it around here to keep it under the yellow, in the yellow area. As you can already see, right, the lower that I make my microphone, the less it's going into the red. So for me personally, I'd kind of want to keep it in the -12 area. That way it sounds good enough. And that's it for the microphone. Microphone is done. You can apply this to any microphone input that you have. If you have friends talking on Discord, you can apply it to there too. The only caveat about Discord is that you'll have to go into Discord, and any friends that you have on call, you'll have to balance them out individually. You'll have to go into their user settings and change their output volume. But that's a problem that you kind of have to play by ear. Next thing you might want to add is you might want to add in your game. That might be a good idea if you're streaming. So I have Risk of Rain 2 open right now because it's a nice game that I know has background audio. You're hearing it in the background right now, and look, there it is. Now, something in this that you can do is you can use the Capture Audio Beta. It's a little faster way of doing it. I have a weird brainworm that tells me that I need to control every part of everything separately, so I have it separated. But this is for the lazy people that don't want a bunch of things in their source list. So now you're sitting here thinking, okay, well, this sounds pretty okay. But in reality, it kind of sounds more like this. This is the video test that I'm showcasing to show that the audio isn't exactly great. You can hear that I'm about on par with the game audio, which means that we're kind of muddying each other out. So what you want to do to fix that is you might want to add in a compressor to the game. Won't that make it sound really weird and muddied? Yes and no. So what you want to focus on with this is the sidechain ducking source. Sidechaining is when you have a audio input set up with another audio input. So for example, right, I have the game set up and I want to set it up to my microphone. Anytime that audio is being played into my microphone, the game volume will lower as a result. A lot of Twitch streamers do this because it's just something nice to help their voice stand out when they're playing games. And so the thing that you kind of really want to focus on with this is the threshold. The threshold is really what clarifies how loud the thing is going to be. And you see here it's at -18. Already right out the gate, you can see on my audio mixer that it's not really doing anything. I'm still about on par with the game. So what you want to do is you kind of want to drop it down to under 20, really. I kind of keep mine around under 25. You'll notice that I keep a lot of things around 25 or so. You can go lower if you so wish. See, here's what happens. You can see that when I have it set to -40 and it's already dropped the audio in half. For context, this is what this sounds like. You can hear that the game volume drops really dramatically, almost instantly, as I talk. And the release, you can see it takes about a second for it to get back to normal volume. If you want it to take a little longer, then I'd recommend setting it up, everything below the threshold, setting it up exactly the same way as you have it on your microphone. So it takes about 200 milliseconds to get it back to normal, and its attack is about 60 seconds. So that way, everything kind of has a little bit of a delay to it. And so if you are someone who has gaps in their thought process, like me, then the game doesn't immediately shoot back up while you're in the middle of a conversation. It's really convenient. Sidechaining is really convenient. It's one of my favorite parts about audio, to be honest. So this is how the game audio, this is roughly how your Twitch stream is going to sound now. If you think this sounds good, then great, you're done with the tutorial. But if you kind of think that things still sound a little too loud, then you can keep on going. So if you think that things still sound a little too loud, you can drop the game capture audio to about, I keep it around -12 because I'm something of a little picky guy. And I don't like when game audio is too loud. You can keep it higher. I know people who drop it down to -6, and that's perfectly fine. Most of the time, actually, I do keep it around -6. That way it's not in the red ever. This is how the game will sound. This is how your Twitch stream will sound on a normal day. And yeah, that's pretty much it, long and the short of it. That's the audio tutorial for OBS. I'm really bad at talking during these. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys need any more help with any sort of OBS things, just ask and I'll see if I can make like another tutorial about it. Because if you're having problems with it, guaranteed someone else is having problems with it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.